So, before we begin, I just want to say excuse the bad lighting. I am still in between homes. My home will not be done till the end of this month, beginning of next month. So, I'm having to do this review at nighttime in the car. And what is this about? It's about boxing, mainly the heavyweight division, but boxing in general. I don't understand something. Have people lost their fucking minds? That's how I feel. Like the whole boxing community has lost their fucking minds. Let's look at it like this. Deontay Wilder, now being considered one of the hardest hitters in history, maybe the hardest hitting puncher ever, for knocking out bums. You're going to compare Deontay Wilder's power to people like George Foreman, Joe Frazier. We go Mike Tyson, Klitschko, for knocking out bums. And then recently, with the Tom Schwartz win, we've got Tyson Fury now being compared to Ali for beating a B-level opponent. Yes, he looked nice. But you know who else looked like an amazing fighter? Who also had an undefeated boxing record before he died? Kimbo Slice. But who was he fighting? Nobody. Looked great in the backyard, eating punches to the face, knocking people out. Went pro, MMA, got beat by guys who are 205 pounds with purple hair. Quality over quantity. Now, everybody's out here talking about AJ's a bum because AJ lost to a man who had 100 amateur wins with only 5 losses. 2 of those losses in the amateurs, I believe, came to Pulev and Oscar Rivas, who Dillian White's about to fight. And AJ beat every person with a belt to get 4 belts, 3 of the major belts, including Povetkin, and he's a bum. Meanwhile, Ruiz should have never lost to Parker. Ruiz should have had the WBO belt that Parker had because Parker lost that fight. So really, we were looking at Ruiz, 100 amateur wins, should have had 33 professional wins. He's a bum because he beat AJ. And now AJ's even more of a bum because AJ, who has been fighting nothing but top tier opponents, finally lost because he kept challenging himself, kept fighting top tier quality, and now he's a bum. But now, because Tyson Fury looked good against an unknown fighter, because I even gave him the little Ali comparison in my post-fight reaction that I did, where he did a whoo, 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 dodge 4 punches and showed power for the first time with pop on his punch, but now he's Ali. If y'all don't get the fuck out of here with this bullshit, then every sports analysis, every sports show, every TV show, every news outlet, you hear about the big 3. Oh, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua. Whoop! AJ's gone. Now it's only 2. But yet, if we went to Boxing Rec right now, you know who's beat more world top 20 fighters out of all these guys? Dillian White. He's not even mentioned. Oscar Rivas, who is about to fight. If he beats Rivas, and I'm not sure that he can beat him, because I've said this before, Rivas is a short man. He's 5'10". Don't care what Boxing Rec says about him being 6 foot 6'1". He's fucking 5'10". He's 5'10", about 240 pounds. Muscle. Used to fighting tall guys. Used to surviving in the land of the giants. So will White beat him? I don't know. But what I do know is if White beats him, White has beat more top tier opponents than any of these guys. But back to the point. When did people get legendary status off of beating B-level opponents? It's just like coming back full circle about B-level opponents. Who has fucking Ortiz beat? Brian Jennings. Said it numerous times. Look at his resume. Who has he beat other than Brian Jennings? Nobody. Back to Deontay Wilder. Most devastating puncher ever. Really? He is? Well, let's look at the only 2 fights he's had against top-level opponents. And I don't even consider Ortiz a top level, but let's put Ortiz up there. He's had 2. Ortiz and Fury. Where was that scary power at? He damn near got knocked out by Ortiz. And when he knocked out Ortiz, Ortiz was already gassed. It's not like he hit him with a devastating knockout that put him away. It's not like he put him out early. No, Ortiz was gassed and then got knocked out. Tyson Fury went all 12 rounds. Where was that scary power? Where was that I can't get up power at? It wasn't there. Then he gets praised for being an inactive Dominic Breazeale? Really? A guy with ring rust because he was waiting for a title shot? Really? And that's your king? That's the hardest puncher ever? Man, if y'all don't get the fuck out of here with this bullshit, I'm so tired of the wrong people getting praises. I'm so tired that a fighter like Anthony Joshua, who lost to a man who was the best. I don't give a fuck about the excuses. I don't care if he had a concussion. I don't care if he had a panic attack. I don't even care if he didn't train. The bottom line is he came in there and he lost. Ruiz was the better man that night. But because Ruiz beat this dude who beat all other champions outside of Wilder because Wilder won't fight nobody, now he's a bum? That makes no fucking sense. The man with the harder competition, with the better wins, is now a bum because he lost. See, this is the problem with fucking boxing. This is the problem. This is why MMA has taken over so fucking much. Because motherfuckers know if they get one fucking zero on their, one number 1 on their record and that 0 goes, they're done. They're done. So they don't fight nobody. They make a career fighting fucking bums now. Because one defeat, you lose one, you could beat 100 top tier guys and lose the one. Now you're a fucking bum. Now you're a hype job. See, that's the problem with boxing. That's a problem with a lot of you fans. It's a problem with a lot of y'all calling these other fucking fans casuals. Y'all the main motherfuckers who will go out there and say this person's a bum now because they lose one time. They lose one time fighting a legitimate challenger. Now they're a bum. Their resume don't mean shit anymore because they lost one fight. The 0's gone. Now you're a bum. Makes no fucking sense. Real fight fans don't give a fuck if a guy goes undefeated or doesn't go undefeated. What they want to see is truly the best getting in there with the best. That's why in the eras of the Ali, the eras of the Lewises, everybody had fucking losses besides Rocky Marciano. But even him, he ended his career premature. So had he kept fighting, we don't know if he would have stayed undefeated because he had a very short career. Thing is, no matter how good you are, eventually, if you fight people just as good as you, eventually it's going to catch up. Eventually it's not going to be your night. That's what made boxing exciting. That's why the UFC has got so much popularity. Because they're constantly making the number 1 guy fight the number 2 guy. And what I mean by this is champion number 1, number 2 would be the number 1 contender. So if you want to say it like that, they're constantly making the champion fight the number 1 guy. Constantly. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. The best always are fighting the best. That's why when you look at UFC, guys are considered great when they're like 20 and 15. A record in boxing that will make you a journeyman, a gatekeeper, not even a commodity, not even a name mentioned. But that's why. Because they actually fight who they're supposed to fight. They don't fight these people to make them look good. And they don't give praises for fighting people that make them look good. See, that's the problem with boxing, and it's sad because I love it. I love it so much. My light's going out. Hold on. Oops. Let me crank the car up so we can get these lights on. I love boxing so much that I'm about to be in the ring doing it because I always wanted to. And I'm about to have professional fights. Like it just, this shit don't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. You fans don't make sense to me. The audacity that you would compare Tyson Fury to fucking Muhammad Ali because he beat a bum. It just, you know, that's a little too harsh on Tom Schwartz. I should not call him a bum because he's not actually a bum. He's just not a top tier opponent. He's never fought a top level guy. He's never seen that type of competition. Eventually, yes, everybody needs that step up in level. But when a man who is already on the upper level fights a guy who's stepping up to that next level, he doesn't deserve praise for beating him. The only person that deserves praise is the guy stepping up if he wins. Not the guy catching him for the first time he steps up. There's no praise in that. There's no... like I said, I made this video because I'm frustrated. I'm having to do car light, front-facing cam because of this bullshit. I don't... And you mainly see it in the heavyweight division. That's why I'm focusing on these heavyweight fighters. This is where you're mainly seeing it because the heavyweight division, people want to call it the boring era. The boring era. Oh, you had the Klitschko's. It was so boring. It was so... Why was it boring? Why? Fucking Lennox Lewis did the same thing Klitschko did. Once Klitschko got with Emanuel Stewart. Jab, jab, grab. Jab, jab, grab. But it was exciting with Lewis. But it's boring with Klitschko? No. The issue is, after Lewis, all that was left at the top of the totem pole was Klitschko. And he was so much better than everybody that he fought, they called it boring. Doesn't make sense. It's not boring if you're the best out there and you're fighting the best and you're making them look like C-level opponents. Look at what Klitschko did with AJ. Klitschko was coming off of a loss, a 1.5 year break, and like 41, 42 years old, and still went toe-to-toe, blow for blow with a young cat coming up who hit hard. That tells you the era Klitschko came from was so much harder. The competition was so much better because these old men from his era are doing so much fucking better. When you got a Manny Pacquiao and the welterweights who can still be competitive with the young guys, tells you they came from a harder era. Why did they come from a harder era? Because it was the best getting in there with the best. It was them challenging themselves. It wasn't them running and hiding from other fighters. And that's the issue with boxing now. They're running and hiding from the fighters they should be fighting. And I keep bringing up Dillian Whyte because Dillian Whyte to me has done the most outside of AJ. And if Dillian Whyte loses, so be it. Oscar Rivas deserves a title shot because he beat the man, in my opinion, that is the man at the moment, not Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury had a draw with Deontay Wilder and has fought 3 fucking sub-level opponents. That's no Ali. Ali, people feared for Ali's life when he was going to fight George Foreman. Feared for his life. Didn't want him to do it. Just like Sugar Ray Leonard fighting Hearns, fighting Hagler. People were scared for his life. But they did it. They did it. Now, I'm not saying money doesn't matter because at the end of the day, fans aren't going to take care of fighters after they're retired. Fans won't give a fuck about them. There'll be another name in the history book getting dust on the page somewhere. So by all means, I'm all about fighters making all the money they can make. But to dodge other fighters is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's, you know what it is, in my opinion? For people to compare Tyson Fury to Muhammad Ali after, and I'm seeing it all over. It's not, by all means, it's not one channel. I even said on my own breakdown that he did a Muhammad Ali-esque thing by dodging the punches on the ropes. But by no means was I saying he's like Muhammad Ali. I was just saying the way he was doing it is how Ali would have done it. But Ali wouldn't have done it against a Tom Schwartz. He would have done it against a Sonny Liston, a Joe Frazier. He would have done the same thing against top-level feared opponents of his era. It's ridiculous now. And it just shows you, truthfully, how sad the heavyweight division has become. How people are getting so excited to watch who they consider great. And I'm not saying Tyson Fury is bad. By all means, he is a great fighter. He was a great fighter. How great is he right now? We don't know. But it's sad when they're getting this much praise for just winning a fight against people they should be beating. It's sad. It's a sad state boxing is in. And that's all I had to say.